talk about Jay today, and it seems like he's kind of got a lot going on right now. Based on our data, we see that he met the threshold in our intervention matrix that we defined specifically for attendance. And then it looks like we also have some discipline referrals here in SIRS, and perhaps Jay is also falling behind in class due to his tardiness and possibly missing some assignments as a result of his tardiness.
Yeah, so Jay is in my class, and he is always late to my class. So he usually comes in about 10 minutes late, 10 to 15 minutes late, and he's missed the beginning of my instruction at that time. So then I end up having to take him aside and working with him one-on-one, and he's getting farther and farther behind in doing so. It's really unfair to those students that are there to learn and come on time and come prepared. I'm taking away their instruction time to give to Jay because he's tardy in my class.
Yes, I always see him in the hall wandering by himself. I'll tell him to go to class and he just ignores me. And it's very disrespectful. So I've written him up for disrespect several times.
Okay. So for the purpose of today's meeting, we want to kind of narrow it down and come to consensus on one target behavior. So you guys mentioned a few behaviors. So we talked a little bit about tardiness, lack of work completion, and also some perceived disrespect. Now, Jay met the threshold we defined for attendance, specifically tardies. That's how we ended up talking about him today. So do we have consensus we want to focus on the tardiness today? So that would be our target behavior? All right. So we're going to be focusing on tardiness. And we kind of want to operationalize that so we can break it down. What specifically does Jay's tardiness look like and sound like? And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to use a protocol called data-driven dialogue. And it actually has three parts. The first part is to make predictions. The second part is to make observations based on our data. And then the third part is where we start problem solving. That's where we'll be making inferences. So for the beginning portion, you guys can have a handout. This is going to be done independently. We're just going to make some predictions about what we think we might see in the data that we review. And there's some question stems on here to help you get started. So we're only making predictions right now. All right, so we had some time to make our individual predictions on our paper. So what might be some predictions that we had about what we're going to see in this data related to the tardiness?
I'm going to predict that if he continues to be tardy to class, that he will get a failing grade in that class in ELA.
Okay.
And I predict that Jay is tardy because he wants attention from his peers.
Okay. And I predicted that the discipline referrals were actually occurring during times that Jay was out of class. So the next step in the protocol is to make observations. And remember, we don't want to jump to the problem solving just yet. We want to just clearly define the precise nature, the who, the what, the where, the when. So because we're not problem solving yet, we're not going to use words like because, therefore, it seems. So just straight observations based on the data that we have. So here's our data.
Well, I counted that 7, if I'm looking at this, 7 out of his 11 tardies happened during fourth period, and I also observed that Jay has ELA during that fourth period time.
Okay.
And I observed that Jay has 4 discipline referrals for disrespect, and they were all written during fourth period. And the narrative describes that he was out of class, and I personally would have written that up as a tardy.
Okay. So based on our observations, it seems like the target behavior of tardiness specifically looks and sounds like Jay is wandering around the building during the beginning of fourth period, which also happens to be his ELA class.
Yes.
So now that we've defined what our target behavior specifically looks like and sounds like, the wandering around the building in the 6th grade hallway during the beginning of fourth period, we need to actually define what specifically we want him to be doing instead. So that would be our goal behavior. Instead of wandering the building, we would like Jay to do exactly
Stop wandering the building.
Okay. So we do want to decrease and eventually stop him from wandering the building. But what specifically do we want him to do?
So I would like him to get to class on time, be in his seat, ready to learn, doing his assignment, his do now work by the time that the bell rings at 10:05.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay. So it sounds like we have operationalized it in a way that we can actually measure it. So our goal behavior is that we want Jay's body in the ELA classroom, in his seat, working on his do now by the time the bell rings at 10:05.
Yes.
Do you have consensus on that?
Yes.
All right. We have a goal.